Hey, it's Dr. Story. Guess what I'm gonna do today? New tires. So I got these Tracer Pros and they are now tubeless. Now if you go on YouTube and you try to find out how do people do this, how do they convert their bike to a tubeless system, there are some videos that show people giving up after about 3 hours and quitting. Let's see how easy this is for me today. I might need my breathing video, so let's see how this works out. Now there are 3 different tubeless tires for cyclocross, and I got the Tracer Pro. There's also a Trigger Pro and a Terra Pro, and the reason that I chose the Tracers is simply because I'm in California. I don't need a lot of knobbies for the cyclocross, whereas I'm not going to be riding in dirt. I'm not going to be riding in mud or rain or deep stuff. So these knobbies are going to be fine for a California cyclocross. So the reason I'm doing this is because number 1, I wanted to go tubeless, but number 2, I needed an excuse. And unfortunately, I'll put a link down below of what happened. I actually ended up cracking the front rim by hitting a curb and had to buy new wheels. So I figured, why not go tubeless? So let's get this started and see how this works out. Gloves help so you don't end up having a chiropractor with dirty fingers. Nobody likes that. Okay, so these are already taped right here to be tubeless. They're supposed to be tubeless ready. And I got the valve here. And what happens is, with a tubeless system, if you've never done this before, you have to get a special valve, and this just goes in like so, and then tightens up. And so eliminating a tube is, you need special equipment. So we got that. Now we're gonna put the tire on. Right there it says rotation. And so it tells you which way to put the tire. And tubeless are normally very popular and very common with mountain bike because of the low pressure that you could use on a big old mountain bike tire. But they're somewhat trying to become popular on road tires, but the problem is with the road tires, they have too much PSI, so they don't tend to work as good. The last time I had a mountain bike, there was no such thing as tubeless tires. So when I had a mountain bike, I did not have tubeless simply because it was not yet invented. So this is new to me. Now there are many tricks that I've been told to getting this to work well. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put them on and just see if it works. Sometimes people will say that, or someone told me this past weekend to put a tube in first and get everything in. So I'm gonna get my pump and we're gonna try it cold and see what happens. So that's what usually will happen if you try it cold. Let's try something different. It couldn't have been that easy. So now that is nice in there. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna let the air out. There is no way that it could have been that easy. There we have it. No tubes. So now what I'm going to do, now that it's seated in here, I'm going to remove the valve core, put the sealant in, and we should be good to go. I'm going to use this squirt sealant, and once I finish my cyclocross season, I'm going to let you know how this works, but this is the sealant that I'm going to use, so let's put it in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the valve core, and you need one of these little tools. This is called I don't even know what it's called, a valve core remover. And so you just place it on there and lefty-loosey, and out comes the air. So why would you pump it up and then let the air out of it only to put the sealant in? The reason why is because what you want to do is make sure the tire fits up against the rim real well, and then once it's up against the rim real well, then it stays there when you take the air out, so that all you have to do is put the sealant in. That's the thought process behind this. Put the valve core back in. Righty-tighty. And then what we'll do is spin the wheel real good. Let that sealant get in and coat the tire. And it looks like we are done for the back tire. So I'm very surprised because people, it's almost like folklore. People give you warnings, oh no, you got to do it this way and that way and stuff like this. I don't know if this is a jinx. We'll see in about 10 minutes. But that was surprisingly easy. I wonder if the reason why is because I'm using the same company of the tire and the rim. I noticed most people, the guy from Cole Collective uses Mavic, and he used the same Mavic tires with Mavic rims. So I wonder if there's a compatibility issue. I'm not sure because, again, I'm new to this. All right, let's do the front tire. This little ridge right there has to fit into the ridge of the rim. So if it's not fitting directly to the rim, then air will leak out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tube in first. That will push the tire over towards the rim, secure it into the rim, and it'll essentially lock in place. That's the idea. Then when I take the tire out, at least one side of the tire is locked into the rim. So I don't have to worry about that being secured. And then all I have to do is try to secure it to one side rather than both sides at the same time. So that's the reason why I will put a tube in first and then literally take the tube out. So it's trying to lock the tire to the rim. Boy, it's busy. Let the air out. One of my friends would say, let's give this a go. Actually, the reason I'm really doing this, besides the fact that I broke a rim against a curb, was because one year I did a cyclocross race a couple years back, and I paid the money, entered the race. In 34 seconds, the race was over. And that was frustrating because I got a flat. Well, if a tubeless tire could prevent that, then I may have done well in the race. That's the idea. So that was a long drive home, and it stunk because my family was there to watch me win, not to finish in 34 seconds. So if you could run tubeless and not have that happen, it eliminates certain types of punctures. That's what it's supposed to be doing. So, but if you're riding on the road just for fun and you get a flat, you know, by some chance, you could put a tube in it and ride home. Seal it. Try it. This is good training for chiropractic. One-arm push-ups. And there is the soap trick. That worked. I was surprised. That actually worked pretty good. So, just a little soap. And I could tell you which soap I used. It'll be in the description down below. About 2 ounces. All right, give her a good spin. And it only took 6 hours, 42 minutes, 32 seconds. Just kidding. So let's do a test ride, see how this baby works out.